Have you ever heard of a plane flying without a roof? I know it sounds impossible, and today I'm going to tell you the crazy true story of Aloha Airlines Flight 243. This flight turned from a chill island trip into a mid-air disaster. So grab a snack and let's get into it. All right, it's April 28, 1988, around 1 p.m. in Hawaii. The sun's out, the weather is great, and people are flying to Honolulu for their holidays. Now, if you don't know, Hawaii is a group of islands in the Pacific Ocean. It's part of the US. Absolutely beautiful. Beaches, volcanoes, all that cool stuff. So this flight, Aloha Airlines 243, was just a quick 35-minute hop from Hilo to Honolulu. That's it. Just a short, regular island flight. Aloha Airlines used to fly small planes between islands all day. So this plane? It had already flown 8 times that morning. Nothing unusual. At 1:25 p.m. the flight takes off. Everyone's relaxed. Crew starts serving drinks. But here's the thing, something was already wrong. It's a trusted airline. Someone must have checked it. Spoiler alert, they didn't. Now, about 20 minutes into the flight, the plane climbs to 24,000 feet. And then, boom, a huge blast. The roof of the plane just rips off. I'm serious. Over 35 square feet of the plane's body just disappears. Passengers suddenly hear a loud bang, and then they can see the sky above them. Not through windows. Through the place where the roof used to be. Everything inside starts flying around. People can't breathe. The cabin loses pressure instantly. It's chaos. Now, normally in a plane, the air inside is pressurized so we can breathe. At 24,000 feet, the air is too thin. Without pressurization, you pass out in minutes. That's why planes have oxygen masks, right? But here's the twist. Most of the masks. And to make it worse, there's wind blowing at 500 kilometers per hour. The temperature is minus 45 degrees Celsius. And the passengers? They're in shorts and t-shirts. It's Hawaii, remember? They were ready for the beach, not a blizzard in the sky. Now there were 3 flight attendants on board. Michelle Honda, Jane Sato, and C.B. Lansing. Michelle was near the middle. She survived the blast and tried to reach the cockpit. Jane got hit by flying luggage and passed out. But C.B. Lansing, who was near the front, she was blown out of the plane. She was the only person who didn't make it. Michelle couldn't reach the pilots. So she panicked and started asking passengers, "Does anyone here know how to fly a plane?" You can imagine how people felt hearing that. But here's the relief. The pilots were alive. Captain Robert Schornstheimer and First Officer Mimi Tompkins were in the cockpit. They felt the blast, turned around, saw that the entire roof was gone and the cockpit door had blown off. Debris everywhere. But they stayed calm. They immediately grabbed their oxygen masks. Then they started a rapid emergency descent. The plane dropped over 4,000 feet per minute. But there was another problem. The front part of the plane was dipping down. The floor was the only thing holding the cockpit and the passenger section together. If the floor gave out, the plane would snap in half. They had minutes to land. They contacted air traffic control and were told to land at Maui Airport, which was closer than Honolulu. Just 3 minutes after the blast, the plane was already down to 14,000 feet. That's low enough for passengers to breathe without masks. So at least they weren't going to pass out. But then a new danger. There was a 10,000-foot mountain right between the plane and the airport. Not a great time for sightseeing. So the pilots carefully slowed down, 170 knots, just fast enough to stay in the air. They guided the plane between 2 islands, avoiding the mountain. By this point, passengers started realizing, okay, the pilots are alive, we might actually make it. As they got close to the airport, Mimi lowered the landing gear. Now normally, 3 sets of wheels come down, 2 at the back, 1 at the front. The back ones were fine, but the front nose gear wasn't working. Now technically they could land without the front wheels. That's called a belly landing. But in this condition, with a cracked body and damaged frame, landing like that could have caused an explosion. The pilots were getting ready for a belly landing. Then, someone on the ground used binoculars and saw that the nose gear had actually deployed. Huge sigh of relief. At 1:58 p.m., just 13 minutes and 42 seconds after the explosion, Flight 243 landed. One engine had failed, but the pilots used brakes and the remaining engine to bring the plane to a stop. Emergency crews were already waiting. Passengers rushed out using the slides. They were shaken but alive. They clapped. They thanked the pilots. They hugged each other. Out of 95 people on board, survived. Only C.B. Lansing was lost. Her body was never found. She was the hero flight attendant who was serving passengers when the roof blew off. Now you might be wondering, how did so many people survive? Here's the key. Seatbelts. Because the plane hadn't reached full cruise height, the seatbelt sign was still on. Most people were wearing them. If they weren't, many more would have flown out of the plane. Photos of this plane flying with no roof shocked the world. An investigation followed. Turns out, this plane had done nearly 90,000 short flights, and every time it flew, the cabin pressure caused the metal to expand and contract. Tiny cracks formed. Moisture got in. The glue between the sheets started to fail. Eventually, the cracks joined up, and the roof tore off. And here's the worst part. Boeing had warned about this problem years ago. But Aloha Airlines didn't take it seriously. They even skipped proper inspections. They lied about using advanced crack detection tools. So after this incident, things changed. Old planes were inspected again. And guess what? Many had the same cracks. New rules were made. Planes that fly short routes all day now get inspected more often. Tools like eddy current and ultrasound are now used to find even invisible cracks. The U.S. government even passed a law, the Aviation Safety Research Act of 1988, to improve safety for aging aircraft. And since that day, no similar incident has ever happened again. One short flight, one mid-air disaster. But it led to huge improvements in aviation safety. Pretty wild, right? If you liked this story, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.